DDG episode 46. My name is Dave Hunt. I'm joined as normally by Michael Swick.
How's it going? I passed my coronavirus test this week. Found that out this morning. Yeah. First time I failed a test that I was happy about.
And that other voice you see or hear, depending on where, if you're listening or watching, is Josh Langford.
Hi.
The notorious PJF. What else? The bad boy in podcasting.
Yes. Ruiner of lives. Wild card, bitches. I'm here.
All right. So if you've been listening to DDG for a while, you know who Josh is. If you've been listening to us prior to our starting of DDG, you know who Josh is. But if you haven't, Josh, who are you?
Who am I? A guy who... I like fast cars, fast women. Sorry, that was Stripes, wasn't it? All right, yeah.
Yes.
I used to be on PlayStation Nation with Dave and Michael, and then I wasn't. And now I'm just kind of hanging out and living life and enjoying my life.
Must be
and
nice.
Having a good time.
I was gonna say, like,
actually quite awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure you're playing more old stuff than new stuff we'll get into later, but you're playing stuff any way you want, which is nice, and you're not having to edit 20 reviews a week, which is probably great.
Yeah, the free time. Well, no, the job has taken over the free time, so not as much free time as I would have liked. But life is good, so can't complain.
Yeah, because you were not only podcast host, but you were editor. So you were doing all the things to make everyone look good in their writing.
Sorry, I just caught a microscopic spider that came right down.
It's been that long since you've podcasted that there's cobwebs on your microphone.
No, this fucker came from the ceiling. It could have come right down in my face. All right, so yeah.
Dave?
Yeah, sorry, I was just checking on a couple things on the stream. But yeah, so Josh has been around for a long time. He's definitely been one of the top requested guests for a little while. We had a goal of, when we briefly would talk about it, trying to get him on. I think we shot for like once a quarter. We're looking at about twice a year, so we're doing okay. It's been weird. It's been 6 months, and then there's been this huge thing that kind of got in the way. And I guess the last time we talked to you was before COVID was kind of like really early on, like it really wasn't in the States or anything yet. And then I guess one of the things I think that people would be very curious about is what has COVID life been like for you, because all three of us are actually in relative hot spots of the country at one point in time or another. So what's been going on with the family, if depending on how much you do or don't want to tell, and schooling stuff, and then your job, obviously, because that's usually kind of always the sticking point for everybody. Did you manage through it mostly well?
Yeah, it's funny. So family's good. I mean, my wife works at a hospital, so that worried me, obviously, that she was still going in. She wasn't going in every day, but she was going in. There were times there for a while where she was literally the only person on the bus, which is kind of freaky.
As someone who's been on the bus by themselves, it is very weird.
Yeah. So she would come home and have to do the whole decontamination process, and it was a little chaotic. My job I was worried about, because suddenly I couldn't go out and see people anymore. But one of the guys at work immediately sat down the day we were told you can't go out anymore. He sat down and he said, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to just let this stop. I'm going to find a way to do this. Sat down, figured out a way to do our whole process over Zoom. And on Monday or Tuesday had corporate behind it. It's a family run company. Had the owner behind it, and we all did it. and we were able to just continue on like nothing had happened. And we actually had our best month in company history in April. It was insane.
Well, partially because, I mean, you're in a form of home improvement, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
solar. Yeah.
People are at home looking at their house
Yeah.
and thinking of ways to improve it. So, and using, I don't want to get too detailed. I know what you do, but using more stuff than they normally would use and looking at ulterior ways of processing that information. So.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot more electricity being used at home.
Yes.
Than there ever was.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because, so like I said, family run company, and the owner is very much into people, and community and everything. So he put up his own money right off the bat and said, everybody who gets solar gets $1,500 in their pocket from us, period. That's it. And then if they refer a friend, the friend gets $1,500, and the person referring them also gets $1,500. So that helped.
Good way to help business. Yeah.
Good pyramid scheme.
And he started it. It was only for like the first month or two, and he basically pushed it all the way out and said, we're doing it right till the end of the year, because it's gone so well and people are hurting. The government has given us what, $1,200 in the past 6 months. Yeah, that'll help. That's it. One payment for everybody. So yeah, it's pretty fantastic. I've never worked at a place like this in my life, and I tell everybody this when I'm talking to them. I sit down, and this is part of my story, is that I went back through and looked at, from age 13 to now, I've had 22 jobs, and that counts like all the little part-time summer jobs when I was younger and everything, and just adding it all up. I had one that went for 15 years, but I've never ever in all those jobs worked at a place where there isn't somebody trying to throw you under the bus for something that went wrong. There isn't somebody who's trying to take credit for your work and get ahead. There isn't somebody who's just, doesn't have time for you, essentially. You have a problem, you say it, and 10 people jump up. What can I do? How can I help you? Let's go. Let's do this. Awesome. It's amazing. It's a family, and it's the best family.
Makes you actually want to go to work. So
yes. Yeah. It's fantastic. I was like, I'm never leaving this place. I'm going to be here the rest of my life. It's amazing. Awesome. And I get to help people.
That's good to hear.
It's fantastic.
So I know that your daughter is close to age of my youngest son. So I guess this is a relevant question as well. How's virtual kindergarten going?
Actually, not too bad.
Yeah. Ours isn't going too bad either, actually. So.
Yeah, they're both, my son's in 3rd grade now, and he's got it down. He's kind of figured it out. She's been through the first 2 weeks. The first week was nothing. The second week was where they actually started doing work.
Yeah.
She had issues with, where is this? Where is that? She didn't know where this book was, or she didn't know exactly what the teacher wanted, and she'd run to us and ask for help. And but I think by this week coming up or the week after, she'll have it all down. She'll know where everything is. She'll know what's expected of her, and she'll be fine. Awesome. I mean, she's been pretty much fine as it is. Awesome. So, and she loves it. She's like, I'm excited. I want to go to school. And I'm like, yes, go.
That's good.
So, yeah, it's been good.
All right. So I think that's a decent amount of catch up. I'm sure we'll pick up some more stuff as we go through some things, but we're going to jump into some news, and we actually have a story that I think that he's going to start with that I think you'll actually have some relevance on. I don't think we shared the Google Doc with you, so this is like a little mini Christmas for you each time. So
yeah. So the creator of Rayman, Michel Ancel, he is quitting game development, and he's going to start a wildlife sanctuary. Wow. He put up an Instagram post just announcing the sanctuary he's doing, and just, sunsetting his video game development career. And this is, usually when people retire, we don't really bring that up too much. But this one specifically, he has 2 games in development, Beyond Good and Evil 2, which is kind of disappeared over the last like 2 or 3 years. And then also Wild, which was announced 6 years ago as a PlayStation exclusive at like Paris Games Week. Both games are in development. Ubisoft had to come out and say like, hey, we're still working on Beyond Good and Evil 2. We'll have more to show you soon. And then Wild apparently is still being made at his studio that he owns, but it's very unclear exact because they haven't released a statement other than the game is still being worked on in some form, even though it's been a really long time. And it was always a little confusing because we knew he had his own studio, but then he jumped to Ubisoft strictly to do Beyond Good and Evil 2. But yeah, that's I thought it was kind of cool though that he was just like, hey, I'm just gonna work with nature. I'm just gonna open up a wildlife sanctuary. Like it's a cool transition. I think the only time I can think of when people like leave a studio or like studio heads leave or retire, I think the BioWare doctors started craft beer service, which isn't nearly as cool as a wildlife sanctuary. But he's going out doing what he wants to do. And that's pretty cool. I know fans panicked because Beyond Good and Evil 2 seems like it's just in some sort of development hell because they've been so radio silent. But I'm sure we'll find out more now that Ubisoft is doing quarterly forwards. Like it seems like they're just doing forwards whenever they can now because we're in this new world where publishers can just drop a half-hour, 45-minute video whenever they want, and
they've kind of been attention. I mean, the schedule they've dictated, and we'll see if it holds like in November. But they've been doing one every 60 days, pretty much. So, but obviously that's only 2 that they've done. They did one in early July and then one just in early September. So if we see one again in early November, which I think would make sense, then like it might be a regular thing. Do you think that this guy is completely done, or do you think he's still going to be some kind of consultant where like he's still going to be used as a resource?
I would guess he gave them a roadmap, and especially when you're the creative, like the story's already done for this game, you would imagine it's just a matter of just like putting that and making that exist. But what do you think, Josh? Like, do you think he's done, or because it seems like he's leaving to do something completely different, and I feel like that's usually a sign that people are done.
Yeah, it sounds like he's done. I'd heard the basics of the story. I hadn't heard all the detail you gave. I didn't know about the animal sanctuary. That's actually really cool. But it sounds like that he's done. They've been working on this game quite a while, and I'm sure they had a roadmap and they had a plan for it, and they're far enough along that they don't need him anymore.
Yeah, because we saw it at the last E3 you went to, right? Wasn't it off in that other room? Remember when we were like?
Yeah, it was. Like it was at one of the E3s.
Yeah, in their own little, like they had their own little wing in the Ubisoft booth that you couldn't go over to.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, as a company, they have bigger issues right now.
Yeah.
A ton of bigger issues.
Yeah, we've touched upon on those the last couple of weeks. So.
Yeah, I figured you had. Much bigger issues that they need to deal with.
I'm glad he's leaving for a wildlife sanctuary because the departures right now in Ubisoft do not look good. So at least he was able to get this out and be like, hey, I'm leaving because I want to and because I'm doing some wildlife stuff.
Well, okay, to throw the wild card in, do you think he's bailing before all the allegations come out?
I can, so I wouldn't want to like get that speculative.
I don't think so because they've been doing a couple months investigation and we saw some of the fallout from that. I feel like that in terms of from the outside looking in, from my perspective, my guess of the way that this studio is handled is that it's attached to Ubisoft, but it's attached to Ubisoft like through a wing that you have to go through a security door. Like they're like, I don't think that the president of or the owner of Ubisoft, Michael, what's his name?
Gives.
Yeah. I don't think he goes. I don't think he goes in the studio and tells somebody what to do like he does in like Massive or something like that. I think that this was more of an acquisition, and they're like, okay, like you pay the bills, but this is still our building. So.
Yeah, I though I could see him leave because there's been so much turnover that he was just like, you know what, things are just starting over. I've been doing gaming. He's been working in games for 30 years. Like he created Rayman. He's been around.
Yeah.
So I could see him just seeing everything change and then just being like, you know what, I'm just going to leave because I'm too old to be getting resettled with all the new heads of studios, all the new PR people that have to come in. And he's like, you know what, this is a good time to leave. Beyond Good and Evil 2 is probably at a certain percentage that he's like, well, I'm just here to like check boxes. I'm not here to like get in the nitty gritty with it. So he probably would have gotten taken out because they took a ton of people out over the last couple months and were very clear about that. So I think he saw a window where he could leave because of all the turnover, and he took that chance.
And this is all going on
unless something bad comes on.
This crappy stuff, this crazy stuff with Ubisoft is all going on while prior to all this nutty stuff happening, they announced a huge turnover in the narrative teams and everything too, as they're trying to not have all their games be the same.
Yes.
So like there's definitely a bunch of changes happening there, but needless to say, hopefully it's for greener pastures. Truly, it's what he really. I mean, I hope it's something he really wants to do, and obviously he did gaming for quite a long time, and he'll have a significant impact for years to come. Still,
did he say where it's going to be?
In France. It's in France. Yeah. So he's doing that. It's supposed to to educate people, like most sanctuaries are for. So it's just for education. So
That's
yeah.
Cool.
So I guess we'll probably find out more about that as he gets settled with that, and then hopefully we'll find out about Beyond Good and Evil 2. I don't think the game Wild is gonna happen at this point. like I didn't even understand how Wild was in development with him leaving his own studio to do the work at Ubisoft, and then they've just gone radio silence on that because Wild looked cool. Like I don't know if you guys remember Wild.
I don't, but
I have a vague recollection of it. How long ago was it?
6 years ago. I think it was at Paris Games Week. It was announced for exclusive to PS4. It ended, I think, the Paris Games Week press conference 6 years ago.
I mean, I think I'm having like vague memories of it, but because it was all just an animal-based game, right?
You were a shaman who could basically take control over various animals. So
this will be, mark my words, this will be the very last PlayStation 4 game released.
Wild or
yeah, Wild.
Obviously, Josh has not been paying attention to what's been going on the last 10 days.
No, that's what I'm saying. I know what's going on there. Even with all that, Wild will be the very last PS4 game officially released ever in the history of that console.
And because it's a survival game, it's just
I thought that. So even it's going to come out before Agent.
Yes.
Okay.
It'll come up for Agent. Okay.
Agent is being pushed. Agent is being pushed to PS6.
Okay.
That makes sense.
We're going to talk about games in the middle of what Josh just said, and we're going to talk about this shocking news that PS5 games are going to have large file sizes.
So I put this in here because people were surprised that the file sizes. Yeah. I just put it in here because I saw a bunch of discourse on Twitter, of course, of all places, where people were like, I thought the SSD was supposed to save space. The reason I guess people are just upset, so Spider-Man Miles Morales Ultimate Edition, which comes with Miles Morales and the Game of the Year edition of Spider-Man, it's going to be 105 gigs. Demon Souls is 66 gigs. The PS5 only has a 825 gig hard drive or SSD, and there hasn't been any communication on the expandable storage in terms of availability day one. Like Microsoft will have their expansion slots. So there hasn't been any word on exactly what SSDs have been greenlit to be compatible with the PS5 or how the process is going to be to replace PS5. So 20% of your console, if you get these two games, is going to be taken up. And everyone's theorizing the 825 doesn't include the OS. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't. If the 825 is going to have a chunk of it taken by the OS, but because it's an odd number, people are assuming.
I think it has the OS built in.
So they're using a 1 terabyte drive, and 175 is being taken up by the OS,
or it's on a completely separate drive.
Maybe. I don't have confidence in their messaging over the last couple of weeks, so yeah,
that's valid. So I mean, I don't either. But I mean, to think that these games that are going to be bigger is crazy. To tie into this a little bit, I put this in the Facebook group today. Microsoft released a little bit more information about the S and the Series S, and apparently the Series S is capable of doing 4K. But at the same time, they actually said games that are going to come out, games that you would install on the S, are smaller than if you install them on the X.
Yeah, well, so because the S is going to be upscaling to 4K, not native 4K, so it's going to be running their 1080p or 1440p stuff and then upscaling it, which means they don't need the 4K assets to do that. So that's how they're getting away with that.
Do you think that Sony would give us that a similar option to help us optimize hard drive space?
No, I think you're just going to get
delete
the assets.
And re-download.
No. I'm talking about
delete and re-download.
I'm talking
He's talking about different
not downloading
sizes.
4K assets.
Oh, different sizes,
but not downloading 4K assets. Because so you remember when Borderlands Collection came out, and it came out and it had a texture pack that you downloaded separately on the Pro. So I'm wondering, like, as somebody like me who, like, if for me, like, at home playing on my TV, do I need to have a 105 gig Spider-Man game, or can I have an 80 gig Spider-Man game without 25 gigs of 4K texture?
Yeah, you can have less than 105 gig Spider-Man game. Just don't install both of them. Did everybody forget that that's both games together?
But we don't, in terms of how they're releasing it on the PS5, we don't know what that's going to look like because it's supposedly completely remastered for PS5.
Yeah. So, yeah, but 105 is the total. And we already know that Miles Morales alone is like
50 something.
50 something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but beyond that, you talking about that reminded me when they talked about this hard drive and when they talked about the memory and when the RAM and the way they were doing everything, they said it would allow developers to use the hard drive in combination with a disk or whatever, the RAM and everything, so that they could load things in an optimized way so that they could well, actually, that was taken from the disk into memory. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, what they're saying, what Cerny was saying that I think
could choose what was going on to the hard drive too.
Yeah, I think what you're referring to, what Cerny was saying, is that previously with the other hard drives, like if you spun around the room, the game would have to like load it each time. And then now with the SSD, it might be able to quote unquote cache that room a little bit better to where the room doesn't have to like reload if you do like a full 360 in it or you'll see less, even though I still don't believe it because we saw it in that Epic demo, but you'll see less of the player walking through that, like shimmying through that corridor tunnel while the game's doing a back end load. And some of those aspects would be less with the SSD's ability to hold the area or the room that you're in versus like, and we saw it with I think we saw a little bit of it with the Demon Souls demo or the trailer that they showed of the character walking into the smoke and how fast it loaded into the next area, especially for that game. Because I saw a side-by-side comparison. Obviously, the technology between a PS3 and a PS5 is leaps and bounds better. But in terms of when they showed the same area that they were showing in the trailer of where the PS5 version was fighting the boss, the PS3 version was like just getting to the area to load in to fight the boss. So, I mean,
So, like, Cerny during his talk talked about how the SSD is going to fundamentally change the way games are designed, and spaces or like the amount of data needed to run a game is going to be significantly less because you don't need repeated assets. Because currently the way games work is they constantly have to pick or they repeat data a lot, especially for open world games, and they won't have to do that because SSD is so fast it could just pick the specific thing, the one asset it needs for that time, as opposed to having that asset repeated 50 times.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, and I think that's what people are confused about with the file sizes on these is we're not going to see those fundamental changes for a couple years,
if at all,
because they have to apply that to the game design. And Spider-Man is already a game on the PS4, so they can't fundamentally change that game design. They could, but that would take too much work. Yeah. And we probably won't see a first-party developer, because it's only going to be first-party developers that are going to be able to take advantage of that and really build the SSD technology into their game design for at least a couple years, because anything that's already in development is most likely multi-platform. I mean, we heard Horizon's coming to PS4, so Horizon won't be the first one that is going to, fundamentally change the way games are designed. It's going to be probably the first Naughty Dog game to come to it, or another Sony exclusive.
But I also feel like
a couple years.
I also feel like Naughty Dog will take advantage of the extra quote unquote space they have to do cooler things that they couldn't do before because they didn't have enough space.
That's also a thing.
So we saved 20 gigs. Like, okay, let's use them now. For something else. So I don't really see. I don't think you're going to see if it ever exists, I don't think you're going to see Uncharted 5 come out at 64 gig. Like, just because they've learned how to optimize the drives correctly. Like, I think you're going to see a 120 gig version of Uncharted 5 with even cooler scenes and tech in it.
What about Sackboy's Big Adventure or whatever they're calling that?
That's PS4. That's PS4 as well.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
It's coming to PS4. But they didn't release the file sizes for that. All these file sizes were found on PlayStation's website.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
technically, the only exclusive to the PS5 is Destruction Derby,
and
right?
and
Demon's Souls.
Demon's Souls and Destruction Derby are the only PS5 only games you can play at launch, and Astrobot, which comes preloaded on your console.
I don't count Demon's Souls because that's been out before.
Okay. So
I mean, what the fuck?
Dave's so happy now.
By the way, I looked it up. Demon's Souls sold less copies than Killzone 2.
Oh no, I know, but I still don't think Killzone is a system seller in 2020.
I don't think Demon's Souls is a system seller in 2020.
Dark Souls has become super popular.
But this isn't Dark Souls.
No, but it's the same thing.
I kind of lean with Michael on that one.
No, I'm not.
There's a
I'm
large
saying,
group of people that love those.
I didn't dispute that, but not to launch your next gen console with.
No, I think it works because your argument before was like, well, Killzone would have probably made more successful. Killzone is on like a downhill. If we look at the bar graphs of like sales and interest, Killzone is going down, and From Software games are going up. Like how much of a difference we're seeing with that, I don't know, but
I'm just still agitated by what I just said. That the two launch titles that your only PS5 experience are Demon's Souls Remastered and Demolition Derby. That doesn't look like a $70 next gen game.
No, that looked like it reminds me of the game EA tried to put out, Rocket Arena.
Yep.
It looks like that, and then you saw what happened with that, where they were selling that for $5, then they were trying to give that away for free.
Yeah, Prime gaming.
Destruction All-Stars, I'm still waiting for them to announce like if they're going to do like a actual PS Plus thing, or if they're just going to do that instant game collection thing as their PS Plus for the foreseeable future.
Well, if they do that, then they only have Demon's Souls.
Yeah.
So, all right. Speaking of messing things up, so Michael, you got more information on this one. So Sony admits that they messed up the pre-order process.
Yeah. So back in June, for Jeff Keighley interviewed Eric Lampel, I believe is the person.
Right. Yep.
And they asked him what's going on with pre-orders, and Eric Lampel said, "Don't worry, we're going to give you plenty of advance notice. We're not just going to drop pre-orders on you. Mm-hmm. You will have advance notice, and et cetera, et cetera." And that made everyone excited. So then, fast forward to last week, and they had the event. After the event, they just tweeted out, "Hey, the game, the systems will be available for pre-order starting tomorrow." And then retailers saw that tweet and were like, how about now? And then all hell broke loose with every major website crashing as each site went up with their pre-orders, and no one can handle it. A lot of retail partners that have brick and mortar, Walmart, put out a couple press releases being like, hey, you can pre-order in store, to like, no, don't pre-order in store. We can't handle that. And Best Buy did the same thing, where most Best Buys were confused on if people could even pre-order in store, and it sounds like they were turning people away that wanted to pre-order in store. They were just telling people go to the website, but the website was
Walmart
broken.
came out and said you cannot pre-order in store because we want to control the people in the store.
Yeah.
So they said to order online.
So they released a press release immediately after the announcement saying people send to store, and then they retracted that like super fast and were like, don't send anyone to the store. So Sony released a statement a couple days ago. Let's be honest, PS5 pre-orders could have been a lot smoother. We truly apologize for that, and over the next few days, we will release more PS5 consoles for pre-order. Retailers will share more details, and more PS5 will be available through the end of the year. So it's on the retailers now. If you missed out, you're just gonna again follow Wario64 on Twitter.
Turn his tweet notifications on.
Which it's what I did. I got mine.
Stay there, and
Cheap ass gamer. Basically, if people get paid off affiliate links, they're the ones that are going to be hunting links for you to buy these down, and they're not going to mess with their own money. I remember my coworker, I shared Wario 64's link with him, and Wario had a weird link that just added it to your cart immediately. And I had explained to him, like, don't worry, it's a trusted link. This man makes his money off of these affiliate links.
Mm-hmm.
He will not screw us over. So I ended up pre-ordering through Wario. Xbox responded with some shade on social media that,
saw that.
was really good, of just like, I forget the exact words they put behind it, but it was basically like, hey guys, we know what we're doing. September 22nd, 11 a.m. Eastern, these retailers will have it in the US and Canada. Again, 11 a.m. Eastern, these retailers will have it. In UK, 8 a.m. British Standard Time, these retailers will have it. Don't worry, we got you. Basically is what they said. And me and Dave, like, I know, Josh, you probably don't follow the podcast weekly, but me and Dave were so annoyed with how, like, the marketing and messaging behind Sony leading into the PS5 has been. It reminds me of PS3 era Sony, which scares me. And I'm seeing it's not as bad as that. There's a little less arrogance and more Mr. Magoo type shit going on, where they're just they don't understand things.
The cool shiny stuff is being shown to you. The real meat and potatoes you got to read about.
Yeah. So and then Microsoft's is kind of killing it with their social media. They have someone that they can have, like Phil Spencer has been really good at just being out there and pretty honest about stuff. I'm sure there's some corporate lies that Phil Spencer's telling us because that's his job, but for the most part, he seems like a nice stoner man who tells us what we need to know about his games. And Sony just doesn't have that, and that's where all this confusion's coming, because a lot of people were upset they couldn't get their pre-orders. Like, it was frustrating for a ton of people. But what do you guys feel about, like, Sony at least admitting they fucked up and Microsoft basically taking advantage of that?
Go ahead, Josh.
They had to at least apologize for this mess. It wasn't entirely their fault. I mean, they do take some blame because they told everybody you'd have plenty of advance warning, and they basically gave everybody a day.
Yeah. Now, and then it turned into less than a day.
Yeah. Now that was not under their control, and that I don't blame Sony for. That I blame entirely the retailers, and I think it was Walmart that kicked it all off. Walmart.
See, I you know what? I'm sorry. Yeah. I have to stop you right there, Josh, because I 100% disagree from my retail background. Okay. So if that's true, where you're saying that Sony went to Walmart and said you get 100,000 units, and we want you to release it sometime on Thursday.
No, I think they would have told them at.
They didn't.
Well, do we know that for sure?
Yeah, because
Microsoft was able to do it.
PlayStation came out and said sometime, or Keeley was the one that was saying it, and he said, "I'm hearing that PS5 pre-orders will be available sometime tomorrow, after the showcase."
Okay, he heard sometime tomorrow, but maybe they weren't telling him specifically. Maybe they were telling the retailers, hey, midnight Eastern, midnight Pacific, whatever they were going to do, this is when you're allowed to release them. And I saw the Walmart tweet. It got all over the timeline that Walmart literally said, what was it? They said, hey, do you like waiting? Neither do we. Let's do this now. And it was just there.
But then why hasn't it happened with Microsoft then?
Yeah, they must have made them sign.
Because I think Microsoft is holding the URLs and giving them to the retailers at a certain time.
Microsoft isn't even going till Tuesday. So.
No, I know, but I mean, does that mean we're going to see something like on a Sunday night or a Monday night? Like, I just feel like there's the aspects of this of where and it sounds like, and based on the messaging that we've gotten from Sony the last couple of months, of where Sony's like, here you go, we're not 100% for sure of when we aren't going to do pre-orders, but just know that they're going to be sometime on Thursday. And if I'm Walmart, I'm like, well, it's Thursday somewhere in the country. Let's go.
No, there's no way Sony would do that. There's no way they would say to the retail partners, we're not sure when, just sometime on Thursday. They would have a specific time to give them. There's no way I understand Mr. Magoo, but there's no way they're that fucked up.
Yeah, but
they couldn't tell retailers a time.
Usually there's some sort of penalty that, like, the manufacturers impose, like, I can't sell a game before release date because the system will block me from doing it.
Yeah.
Like, Walmart may have jumped the gun, but it still doesn't make sense that still means there wasn't enough advance notice if someone was actually accidentally able to hit live on the site. So there might not have been clear messaging enough time for Walmart to be like, okay, let's set the time perfectly. It sounds like they might have been doing it on the fly, and then someone fucked up and hit the live button when they were setting, when you're setting up like an article in WordPress and you're just like, okay, let me set the scheduler, and then it doesn't work.
GameStop in-store was allowing pre-orders as soon as the conference was over.
Yeah,
in-store.
Yeah, so...
And they knew how many they knew how many they had.
Stay afloat.
Right, but I mean, they knew how many they had.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
I mean, I still think that most of and the Mr. Magoo part of this is I think that most of these pre-orders, and this is again like one of my predictions for Xbox, most of these pre-orders the first time around are going to direct you to all access. I don't think you're gonna be able to go in at 11 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday morning and buy a $600 or $500 Series X. I think it's gonna push you to all access, and you're gonna have to go through like 16 different hoops to get out of it.
No, I don't think they can do that. That would mess them up so much if they made you go through all the all access stuff before you can be like, no, I don't want the contract. They're definitely on every front page that they're partners with. All access, when you type in Xbox on bestbuy.com, all access will be the first one that pops up in that search, but they will then have the links for the Series X and Series S right away. But all access will definitely pop up first in search at all retailers that are partners with them. But I don't think they can get away with having you go through a bunch of different agreements and then be like, no, because that would, if they do that, oh my God, that would be the first like misstep I think Microsoft's had since their gameplay thing.
There's people who can't pass the credit check, so they can't force everybody through that to then get denied credit and then get all pissed off
but
and
it
not buy
also
anything.
it's the same conversation we had about how many digital PS5s versus physical PS5s are out in the wild right now, which the physical ones are higher than the digital ones. And then it's going to be the same thing. Like, how many did Walmart buy for the all access program versus how many did they buy to be purchased outright? And I bet you the number is higher for all access than it is for purchase outright.
I just don't see how they would do that, because that would shoot themselves in the foot in terms of having to make people jump through hoops, especially after they saw what Sony made people do.
I agree, but I'm just saying that
I can see
Microsoft wants the continuous Game Pass subscription, and this is how they guarantee that they get it for 24 months with a contract.
Yeah, but I don't see them making that mistake. I could totally see that being the plan, and then they saw everything happen with Sony with the pre-order and we'll check your trophy list bullshit. That Sony tried to do that apparently didn't really work out.
So Sony sent out private invites. You could sign up.
Yeah, I got that.
You could. Yeah. You got it.
I got that invite.
I didn't.
Okay.
Did you sign up for it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't go in and pre-order one.
They looked at your account.
Your invite is still active.
No, they ran it from like Friday for one full day, and then that was it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because they sent me a second email saying, "Hey, you only have like 6 hours left."
Yeah, that whole thing. They looked at your your purchases, your trophies. They looked at your account, your standing with PlayStation to determine if you got an invite to pre-order. That I felt like was a bad look. I feel like Microsoft probably could have would want to do the thing where you have to go through all access first before you can just get it outright. But I feel like they have seen all the missteps Sony has done and would probably pull back on any sort of plan like that just to make the process easier to pre-order the console right away. And they can get people to buy into the ecosystem by just putting a 1-month trial for Ultimate Game Pass in with every system.
Yeah, but even like Glorious War brought it up in the chat. He's talking about bots. Like, this slows bots down tremendously if they have to go through any access service.
Well, that's perfect. That helps everybody else.
But not if you don't have to go through the service.
Yeah.
But I mean,
but I don't think they care about bots.
I mean, I'm gonna hopefully try to figure out a way to secure one on an S through all access through some retailer, hopefully. So.
Yeah. Josh. So Gray Ghost 13 on Twitter asked. He just wants to hear your thoughts on the new consoles. Are you getting any of them? Basically, is what the question is. I figured I'd just ask it now.
Yeah, I haven't pre-ordered anything, but I will have a PS5 launch day.
Okay.
I didn't really have interest in spending a fuck ton of money on a new Xbox. But I could say fuck ton on here, right?
Mm-hmm. Fuck yeah, you can. I'm drinking a beer.
Right.
We're gonna get in more trouble for that than you swearing.
I didn't have a soda. I needed something with flavor.
So I hadn't considered an Xbox until I saw the all access package. And I was like, well, wait
$25 a month for 24 months for a.
Well, no, I'd go 35.
Or you have a 4K. You have a 4K TV. So.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
Future proofing now.
Exactly. I don't want the 1440p console for when I do have a 4K TV.
See, my philosophy is I'm not going to have one in the next 24 months, and I'll just stay on all access and upgrade.
Yeah, that's what my thoughts are on it. But then $10 isn't that much. My Subway sandwich rule applies to that $10, where it's just like I can swing an extra $10.
Yeah, but that Series X is going to break my entertainment center. So.
Well, that PS5 is. You see the measurements? That's
apparently, yeah. So no, my philosophy is get the future-proof as much as you can. That's what I always do. I'd rather go high end and not need it for a while, than get low end and be like, fuck, now I got to do it all over again and buy another one.
Yeah, I'll be more curious if there's going to be some kind of trade. Because originally when they rolled it out with the Xbox One, even with the One X, there was an upgrade to the next gen hardware. So I'd be curious if to find out if how that upgrade feature's working. In terms of they're sort of trying to do like a cell phone like thing, you know?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, I keep my consoles anyway, so
right.
I will probably do this just to get that, because I'll pay $35 a month for 2 years. I got no problem with that.
But you're only paying $20 for the console because you're getting Game Pass Ultimate with it. So,
but I already have Game Pass Ultimate for I don't know how long, because there was that deal thing. That dollar deal. Yeah, I did that dollar deal.
So this just stacks onto it. They've already said that.
Well, it doesn't quite. It stacks onto it, but you can only go out like 2 years, or 3 years, whatever it is. And so the thing is, because I dug into this big time, I was like, I don't want to get screwed over for this. It sits on your console. It's tied to the console itself.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can log into that console and redeem it at any time. Mm-hmm. So it can sit on your console for a year, 2 years, whatever, to the point where you're like, okay, now I can do it. Yeah. Then you activate it.
It's like taping a gift card inside your fireplace and pulling it out when you need it.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's very specific, Dave.
I don't have a fireplace. So.
Okay.
But
I do. I just don't use it. So.
I think that's pretty fantastic. I mean, if all these consoles had done this, where you could just pay $35 a month for 2 years, there's no interest rate, you're not paying any extra, you're actually saving money by doing it.
Yes, you are.
I think it's especially in a pandemic where people are tight on money right now, and people are having problems with all that. It's a brilliant idea. I got no problem with that, and I'm probably going to do it. Where I would not have bought a new Xbox maybe for 3 or 4 years, I may get one next Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because of that.
I'm kind of talked myself into waiting for Halo Infinite to be the time I get it, because I don't want to like try and fight for a pre-order and then upset myself, even though I don't really want one day one, because I couldn't get it in the pre-order because I'm stupid. So I'm thinking maybe Halo is the time I get it. Though, man, I wish Sony would do this, because like Xbox put out like little tiny YouTube videos just showing like, hey, this is how you can have 4 games in suspended mode, and how easy it is to switch between them. And then it just had a YouTube video, was like 30 seconds long, where it's like, here's load screens on the One X and here's load screens on the One S, and it was like a 50-second for the the old console, and it was 10 seconds for the new console. And I'm just like, oh, I want to play my third-party games on that. Sony, release a load time video, because I've spent too much of my life waiting for load screens, and I want this SSD future.
That's a huge feature that people are overlooking. I think
it's a fascinating philosophy. Like even like you mentioned, Josh, during a pandemic, of like, okay, even for the S, give us $25 a month, and you get a next gen console and 100 games. And Sony's over here saying, give us $400 a month, and there's 2 games that cost $70 each that you can only play on this system.
But to be fair, I would say one Sony exclusive is worth like 20 of those games on Game Pass. I love Game Pass.
No, but I mean, you know, like you're waiting for Halo, so you can get the all Xbox, and then you'll be able to play Halo with paying your $25 or $35 a month, and you won't ever have to worry about damn, do I have $60 or $70 next week to buy Halo?
Yes, then that's the key, because then because I was already, when I did my PS5 pre-order, I was like, okay, $500 for the console plus tax will be $550 for me. And then I was like, oh, okay, all games now cost $70. So Miles Morales Spider-Man, $70. We already did this math a couple episodes already, but I was looking at it and I'm like, I'm gonna end up spending like $700 something just to be set up for launch day with 2 games and an extra controller. And if Xbox actually had some fucking games to play this holiday, that would have probably got me to be like, you know what, Xbox first, PlayStation next, because the PlayStation exclusives aren't. I want to play Miles, but I can play it on PS4. And Demon Souls, I suck at Demon Souls, so I'm not really interested in those. But Microsoft really doesn't have anything, and I've already played the Game Pass on my PC. So,
but are those two, like we talked about last week, are those 2 games for PS5 only really like enticing you enough on that day? Is Demon Souls?
I want a new console day one, and those games look better to me.
Yeah.
Those games look better to me day one than any day one Game Pass game that I can get on launch.
Well, and I guess my counter to that would be the same way. Like the thing I'm excited about is playing Destiny better, playing Avengers better, playing Assassin's Creed better, playing Watch Dogs better.
But that's the thing I think you kind of glossed over is that, Xbox has Game Pass. PlayStation has said that 99% of PS4 games will work on the PS5.
But Xbox said all their stuff will work.
Okay.
And the stuff before that, and the stuff before that.
So the PS3 the PS5 is not going to have nothing. You're going to have all your games from PS4 that you can just continue playing with better load times or whatever.
Yeah,
and there's going to be the instant game collection with like 20 of the best PS4
No, they're
games,
they're getting closer. Like things are getting closer. But I mean, at the same time, without the alternative option of $25 a month versus $400 up front.
Yeah. I mean, $25 a month or $35 a month even is a fantastic deal for 2 years. You can't go wrong with that.
They just need the games.
Cheap. It's cheaper than buying the console and buying 24 months of Game Pass.
Yeah, you save like $50 for the Series S. I think your break even.
It's 20. It's 20 for the S. It's 20 for the S, and I think it's 50 for the X, or like less.
Yeah.
You save money on both of them. Yeah. Either way you do it, you're saving money, which is just it's crazy.
I just want a shiny new toy, the 10th of November, and I feel like the PlayStation will be the shiniest new toy because there will at least be some games built for it, or not necessarily built for it, but at least games that are kind of exclusive for it.
All of us are invested in the PS4's ecosystem, and we have digital games that are just going to run better. I want
to know what my PS4 digital download library is going to look like on the PS5. Like,
it's rumored that you're supposed to be able to take your hard drive and plug it in, and it's just going to work because it doesn't need the SSD. You're going to be able to take your external hard drive, but they haven't confirmed that. The only thing we know is if we want to plug our PSVR camera into it, we're going to need a dongle, and it doesn't have an optical port.
Yeah. And they haven't announced how you're going to get the dongle yet. They just said you will get the dongle through us, but they haven't said how.
Yes, Josh, with your confused look on your face. If you want to play your PS4 VR on PS5, you need a special adapter for the camera because there's no designated camera port. There's no designated port for the PS4 camera to plug into the PS5.
It's got a special camera.
Okay, but the PS5 camera won't work with PS4 VR?
It probably will need a dongle as well, unless it's USB.
No, the PS5 camera is specifically built for the PS5.
That's if you want to buy a new camera, but it's still like...
But it doesn't do anything better. And they haven't said if it's a better camera or not. But
I think it is. I would assume it is because their PSVR 2 is coming at some point, and that camera's going to, take advantage of it somehow. But
would you rather get the dongle they said for free or spend another $70 on a camera when you already have a working camera for it? But they haven't said how you're going to get that free dongle from them yet. And I think that would have been nice to tell people. Like, hey, PSVR owners, sign up for this list now so we can hopefully get a dongle to you before the end of the year.
I'm not disputing not disputing that the new camera is going to work, but that's another $70.
Yeah.
Which with no extra benefit to the current PSVR games that we own, and they haven't said the word PS5 VR at all. Not once.
It's coming.
No. I'm talking about they haven't talked about compatibility or how it's going to work. So like
No, they did say.
They just said it's going to work, but I mean, like,
no. They said it's going to work, but he wants like details on like if there's going to be any sort of performance boost or anything like that.
Because they've always said everything's in the headset. It's the headset that's holding it back. It's the rendering of the screens. They've always talked about. That's why, like,
which is why
it's the headset, and it has that little breakout box. It had that little breakout box to help process everything.
Right, but I'm just like all I'm saying is
so
that
I don't know that there's going to be any benefits.
No, but what I'm talking about is in 8 months or 10 months, if they bring out a PS5 VR game, is it only going to work with a new camera?
Who knows?
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
So
but they'll probably then bust out
and then there'll be a
headset.
run on the cameras. Yeah. I hope everybody has two, so they can sell one on eBay and pay for
and then
their $400
and then the no optical port for a lot of people with headphones, like that's a big deal.
I feel like I haven't had a headphone that had an optical.
Because you have almost all of yours that plug into the controller though.
Yeah, can I prefer that? So I guess that just doesn't affect me. So I don't care.
If you're an Astro A40 fan, you're screwed.
Because I don't like having extra boxes like under my TV. There's already not enough space under my TV.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people like those wireless headphones, and those Astros have been some of the top selling headphones during this generation. And unless there's something coming that nobody knows about yet, that they're not compatible with PS5.
Yeah. But at least we
Astro A90s.
Yeah, they said the A20s will work. Mm-hmm. Those are the only ones that will work out of the box because those plug straight into the controller, right, Dave? You're the Astro guy.
Those I think have a controller plug in too, but I mean, like, but see, the thing is that with Xbox in general, in terms of like Xbox's way kind of around the optical port, is that they allow third-party Bluetooth connection.
Yeah, which hopefully they'll straighten that out with this one.
Because I just got another set of Turtle Beach that showed up this week, and it has this works on Xbox platform sticker on it, and it'll just work on Xbox One, Xbox One S, Xbox One X, Series S, Series X. You just connect it to the console, like through the wireless connection.
That is such a clusterfuck of names. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's Xbox One versus Xbox Series. That's it's Series.
It's still dumb. It's still
dumb. Fucked up.
It's
and
still dumb.
I hate it. It all stems from the fact that the second Xbox was coming out at the same time as the third PlayStation, and they could not bring out Xbox 2 and look inferior, so they had to create a whole new bullshit name and call it 360.
They said,
they were fucked.
I saw a tweet.
Then they didn't know where to go from that.
I saw a tweet the other day that said that they said the guy that decided the name PlayStation 2 should retroactively get a raise right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane. Goddamn. Yeah. Those names are so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
They are, but I think people are used to them with Apple phones. Because what is there? Apple E, Apple Series 10, Apple X? Like, I don't even know anymore.
No. That's not even, I mean, they're iPhone.
That.
5,
iPhone
6, 7,
SE.
8, 9, 10.
Yeah,
but then
XR,
S, SE, XR, like.
Yeah.
But I bet you
the next one will be 12 or 13 or whatever the next number is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at 12, I believe. That's all I have for news, unless you guys have anything else that you guys saw that you'd want to bring up. But I think we kind of covered everything. We just recorded on Thursdays, me and Dave. So like we kind of covered everything.
Yeah, he better have a lot to talk about what he played, because I've been sitting in front of this microphone.
I don't know. You called Dave the Astro guy, and I was going to throw in a trash can joke, but I'll just let that go by the wayside. Go ahead.
All right. So I guess so what we're playing and watching. So what's been having the most impact on you over the last couple weeks or months, Josh? Gaming wise.
The kids. So because of the kids, I can't play the games that I really want to play. Because I don't really have time. I'm usually with them because we're all here in the house. So there's been a lot of Minecraft Dungeons, Borderlands.
What do you think of Minecraft Dungeons?
It's interesting. I love the world. I don't know. The gameplay's good. It's fun. I haven't really settled into it as much. We played it for a while on the Switch. we've been playing more Minecraft itself on the Switch. And the crazy thing is, because it's the Switch and because I could take it anywhere and just pick it up for a couple minutes, play it, and put it down, everything has changed. Like, I've learned so much more about Minecraft than I ever did when I played it on the PlayStation and when I played it on the Xbox and when I played it everywhere else. I showed Mason my save recently because every once in a while we go in there together, or I show him where I've been and what I've done so far. And he's like, where did you figure all this out? Like, I got time to just mess with it because I could just pick it up and play it. I don't have to go turn on the TV or anything. I finally found bees and I'm collecting honey. I built a farm and I'm farming animals essentially so that I got a steady supply of food. I've got all this craziness going on in there that I never even knew existed. Like, I knew that you could do all these things, but I didn't know how. I didn't know any of that stuff. So Borderlands on the Switch is actually a lot of fun. It was my Vita dreams.
How does it run though? Like, really, how does it run?
Really nicely. Okay. Yeah, it runs great.
Are you handheld mostly or on the TV?
Mostly
for that. Okay.
Yeah, mostly for everything with the Switch. I'm almost always handheld with that. My daughter has gotten way into Super Mario Party on the Switch. So it's always family night. We have to play that, or we have to play Rock Band, all four of us. And I'm like, sweet. I've been waiting for years to have 4-player Rock Band in the house. This is awesome. So I need another PlayStation guitar, unfortunately, because that's been the sticking point. I've plugged in the PS3 one with the dongle and everything, but it's spotty at times and it just doesn't work as well. And I'd rather have another PS4 Rock Band guitar, which are impossible to find now under
I'm in the same problem. Yeah. Early in quarantine, me and Sarah were playing Rock Band like every night. Just because it was like, oh, you know what? Especially because we weren't traveling. I was furloughed for like 3-4 months. So we were both home and she works from home. So it was just like one of those things where we weren't listening to music as much because we usually listen to music on our commute to work. So we were playing Rock Band a ton. But then there was definitely some times where I'm just like, man, I need a new guitar or a new drum set. And then I would look online and I can't find anything within reason for that.
Well, when I was out the other day and I was going over to see somebody for my job, I went past the town over there. They're doing like bulk waste collection where you take all your junk and you put it out at the curb and they'll come along and take it on some specific day. One house, I saw a Rock Band guitar out there and I went, ooh. I kind of walked over, just kind of nonchalantly took a peek at it. And the buttons, I was looking for select and start, instead of, or options and start, whatever. Yeah. I was looking for the PlayStation, PS4 ones. I saw a plus and a minus and I went, what the fuck? Oh man, is that like the Wii?
Yep.
Or the Wii U, or whichever version they did it on. I was very disappointed when I saw that because I had never seen one of those. I'd never seen the Rock Band instruments for the Wii. So that I've been playing that stuff. Mason wants me to play Halo. I've been playing through that, and he's watching because he just wants to see the story.
Yeah, I started playing the first one like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's where we did. We went back to the first because I was like, I said I'm halfway through 3 somewhere, and I never finished 3. But I said we should start at the beginning and just kind of go through it. So we're slowly working our way through that. They both have me playing Roblox because they're on their iPads playing Roblox like crazy, and they figured out Roblox is on the Xbox. So Daddy's complaint is that he hates touchscreen controls and doesn't want to play Roblox on the iPad.
Yeah.
But hey, you can play it with your Xbox controller. Come join us. So I've been doing a lot of that, which is fascinating to see all the Call of Duty ripoffs and things like that they build in there. That some are like straight ripoffs. He was playing some what was it called? Liberty County Police Response or something like that. And I said, that sounds like GTA. And I looked over and he's driving around in this car. I'm like, this is a straight up GTA clone. And he's like, oh, okay.
Have you messed with Dreams at all in the last year or so? Or did you fall off that?
I honestly have not had the time to sit down, because that's one of those things where you really need to sit down and put time into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have not had the time to do that. Like, I can pick up a Switch and play for a couple minutes. I can't pick up Dreams, turn it on and play for a couple minutes, you know? Yeah. And these other games that I'm playing, it's with the kids. So, and right now they're not really looking at Dreams. They're aware of it and they know it's there, but they're more into, let's play Roblox. Let's play Halo. Let's play Ratchet and Clank on the PS3.
Mm-hmm.
So I got Mason into, he was looking for something new to play. He just wanted some kind of game where he could have some fun. And I said, here's Ratchet and Clank, the remake on the PS4. Play this. And he started to play it and he was getting into all the weapons and he was really enjoying it. And I told him, you know, this is a remake and there were all these games that came before it and they're all on the PS3. And he wanted me to put that in, and Zoe and him were watching as I've been playing through the first Ratchet and Clank again. And he was laughing at how bad the graphics were compared to the PS4 remake, obviously. But I told him, look, this is even better than it was because this is a remake of the PS2.
Yeah.
Of the original PS2 one. So they've been watching that. Every now and then we'll play that so that they can see it. But beyond that, that's the thing. Like I have Last of Us 2, haven't even touched it. Still haven't touched Spider-Man. Don't need to now because I'll have it on the PS5.
Yeah.
It's kind of where I'm thinking too. So
enjoy that $20, Michael.
Yeah, I forgot I sold you an extra copy I had.
And yeah, there's games like that. There's like a lot of games that I haven't touched or haven't gotten past like 20 minutes in because I'm with the kids all the time. And it's not like I can just sit down and play another game. I can't play, like every once in a while I'll pop in Grand Theft Auto. Once a month I'll pop in Grand Theft Auto so I can get my 100,000 or whatever it is, $1,000,000.
Don't actually play, but you log in, spin around, and then turn it off. Why?
No, you know what?
Josh?
Because like 2 or 3 months ago, before all that happened, I went in and I actually was trying to do the online, and it is so poorly designed for you to walk in. Like I walk in and it says, become a CEO. Okay, how do I do that? No fucking clue. I had to go look it up online, and I looked it up online. It says, do this, do this, do this, do this. I did all that, and it just nothing is simple in there because people have been playing it. People have been playing it for years. They keep adding on to it and changing it and upgrading it. And
game is going to cross 3 generations of consoles.
Yeah, it's insane. They keep putting all this stuff into it. So the person just stepping into it for the first time now, there's nothing telling you how to do this and how to get ahead. And I got all these requests. Oh, come join us on this mission. And I'm like, I have no fucking guns. I can't join you on a mission. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no armor. I have no weapons. I have nothing. I'm just driving around. I have a garage full of cars because of like Twitch and Amazon Prime. But beyond that, I have a nightclub, which I have no idea what I'm doing with the nightclub and how to run it. And it's a pain in the ass. But I go in there every time, and I go into the casino and I spin the wheel to get my, try for the car and everything. It's so fucking stupid. But I'll go in there for like 10 minutes. And the kids are like, "Oh, you're playing GTA." I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm in and out. We're not doing this." Because I have to turn down the volume on that because it's a lot of, and it's like cursing is not a big deal. That I don't mind. It's when the N-word starts getting thrown around and stuff like that. I'm like, I really don't want that in a game that I'm playing in front of the kids. That's nuts. So that's been a weird thing, but yeah, we'll do that every now and then. I'll jump in and just do that for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, drive around so they could see, but it's usually with the sound down.
Yeah.
Because anytime you drive past a person, you're going to hear it, you know?
Right.
Yeah, you're going to hear the worst, horrible 13-year-old in the world. And by 13-year-old, I mean like 45-year-old man, probably.
But even without that, even when I'm not online and I'm just in the game itself, the NPCs are saying all kinds of
the
shit.
NPCs.
You drive too close to them, you get like road rage cursed out or something.
Yeah. But like I said, the cursing it's not that big a deal. You know, I've told the kids, they know it's just words.
It's the hateful stuff that gets thrown around in that game. Yeah.
That I don't need them dealing with. It's crazy. So, and that's basically what I've been playing. Like Daddy doesn't get his own fun time, which is crazy because now I have this sick gaming PC. Well, sick PC that can just eat games alive, and I haven't really had a chance to do much of anything with it.
Yeah, I mean, you should just check out some of the stuff with your Game Pass Ultimate. You know, there's a lot of stuff you can just play on the PC.
I did a little bit, and I did. I played because I have a ridiculous number of games. I've been getting Steam games for a while. I've got all the free Epic games since that store launched. I've got all the Amazon games that they keep, every month.
Or the random game that shows up on Steam for $3. You're like, I'll play it eventually.
I bought that 500 game bundle for Justice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one, yeah.
So I've got 500 games right there. I mean, I've got more games that I know what to do with. It's just finding the time to actually make it all work. That's a little crazy. So I like that there are all those games on the Xbox that I can pop up on here on this computer and on this screen and just play. It's pretty sick because it's going to definitely look better on this computer than it is on the Xbox or anywhere else. So I'm very happy about that. But again, it's finding the time to actually do these things. So, and if I was doing a podcast, I wouldn't even be playing with the kids. I wouldn't have time to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is what it is. It's fun though.
All right, Michael. Mine's small. So
yeah. Still playing Paradise Killer. I was hoping to have a review this week, but I'm going to probably be the week out since personal stuff popped up again last week. Still enjoying that. Still trying to wrap our heads around it because it's an open world mystery game. Just stumbling into areas that like we're not ready to stumble into is a little weird. When I explained it last week, probably poorly. When you find like a 5-sequence mystery and you find sequence 3 and 2 and you're just like, okay, well, I don't even know where this began or where it's going to end, and you're just trying to like piece stuff together. So we're in the middle of like a lot of backtracking of like, okay, we found this, I don't know if this will help us yet, so let's come back here. It's actually quite large of a world, so it's definitely one of those things where we kind of forget, like, okay, where was that thing that we said we needed later? We need that now, and then we have to like backtrack to go find it. Still love it because the game's so bizarre and weird. I called it like sexy perverted Ace Attorney, kind of, in terms of like how the detective stuff goes. Like right now we're shipping our character is Lady Love Dies. That's the main, that's the protagonist's actual name in the game. And we are shipping, me and Sarah playing this basically. And we're shipping our protagonist with Dr. Doom Jazz. We like Dr. Doom Jazz. He seems like a good doctor. That's his name, so we love his name first. And we're just, all the names in this game are super bizarre. So anytime we get a weird name, we're like, we ship that character with our character because it's just so bizarre. And I love I love and hate like the 90s internet computer style things look like, because it just has like, when you go into the menus and you just see how like it just throws information at you, and there's just a ton of different things to click into, like different folders you have to go to like get more case files. It's all a little too complex, but it gives me that 90s using a computer internet vibe that it's just I love
cool.
it. So I will deal with like how it just being a little too clustered, because it just gives that old school vibe. And we're playing it on the Switch, which is nice. Like we played it on the TV, and then earlier we just like took it out of the dock, and we're just like, let's just go like hang out and like hanging out in a hammock or something, and then just play it on the Switch outside or something, or like in the beanbag chair that we have that's oversized. Let's play it there. So hopefully I will have a review next week, as long as, you know, nothing fucking crazy happens to me again. It's 2 weeks in a row. Something prevents me from like getting game time in. Still playing Tony Hawk. That is my go-to game now, where like I'm off like Mondays and Tuesdays. So while Sarah is working from home, I'm just in the other room just trying to get high scores and listening to podcasts, catching up on, you know, like the 30 podcasts that I'm subscribed to, and just playing Tony Hawk. It's my new like mindless game. MLB The Show for so long was that game where I would just play like a whole Road to the season in like a couple weeks or so, or probably a week, because I took out the fielding when I do Road to the Show. I just do the bats. So like it's just that new thing where it's just like I'm playing it, getting the nostalgia. It plays well, and just hoping they, you know, add more content to it. And then the last thing I'll talk about, Nintendo got me. They fucking got me. I bought Mario 3D All-Stars.
You got the emulators. Good.
They'll get me. They'll get me too as soon as my Switch gets back from the repair shop.
Yeah. They got me. I wasn't really like worried about like, oh, it's going away March 31st, but I bought a physical copy because it was like $10 cheaper if you bought it physical from like Amazon, because they price matched Walmart. And I've never played Mario Galaxy. So I was like, you know what? Let me play Mario Galaxy.
That's a good one.
Yeah, everyone says it's probably worth the price of admission.
I would say it is. Yeah, Galaxy is worth
for this
in
collection.
a handheld mode for sure.
For me, that's probably the only one that I would want.
I never finished Sunshine, so I'll actually have a dedication time to make a valid attempt to finish it, to see maybe why I didn't finish it.
Yeah, so like I dabbled with Mario 64 a little bit, and they didn't do enough work to it for me to be like, I'm gonna finish this to the end. So I just dabbled with Mario 64.
Plus, I saw that they eliminated one of the things that people like to do, like the wall glitching. Like you can't do it.
Yeah, they
I saw that.
Yeah,
they did the re-released version of Mario 64.
Yeah, so they're like,
speedrunners are all pissed off. Yeah, and I loaded up Sunshine real quick. Tomorrow, I'm probably just gonna be just chilling in a beanbag chair playing Galaxy in handheld mode.
I think Galaxy's really good. Like the story's good, and then the gameplay mechanic that they added with like the running on the globes, and you know, puzzle solving like that, and activating the cannons, like it's really fun. How does it? So how much of Galaxy have you played? Like an hour, couple?
No, like barely. Nothing.
Because like one of the things that was always kind of cool too, and like Josh, I don't know if your kids were young enough or you were around at the time. I don't think they were, but the other one holding the Wiimote, connecting the you know like almost like their own little mini game, like helping you collect the stars. Like I was kind of wondering like if they just have a better suction system like Ratchet does for the bolts, you know?
I think you use the stick or something like that, or
Okay.
you can touch the screen.
Okay.
Right?
Something like that, yeah. And then you can use the motion stuff, but you have to take the Joy-Cons off of it, or you can use the Pro Controller for the motion stuff, but you can turn that off. Yeah, I mostly just dabbled with Mario 64 and then Sunshine, which I'm not going to play Sunshine. That game's trash. I don't want to ever play that.
Oh my gosh.
But I was just like, well, let me see what it looks like, because like Mario 64, it's whatever. It's, you know, like 4:3 or whatever, and they didn't really do anything but up the resolution. Sunshine looks a little bit better, and Galaxy looks great because it looked great back then. It's one of those.
Yeah.
Nintendo, especially for the like GameCube era on, their games their art style just works so well to where it can just transition to another
it's not
console
super taxing. I mean, it's talk about like future proofing something for them to know that, you know, they might have something cool, like, and it's not taxing either way. Like they're not like trying to evolve the way Mario looks.
Yeah, so I'm just upset no Galaxy 2. Like I wanted Galaxy 2 to be on there.
They're gonna release that as its own separate thing for $60 by itself.
I know, yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen, and I'll maybe if I like Galaxy enough, I'll buy it. It's just the Wii was kind of a blind spot for me. I had a Wii, but I just never used it because I was just so entrenched with PS3. So Galaxy and a ton of other Wii games that people tell me are amazing. I just never like. I played Wii Sports and Kirby, the Yarn one.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Epic Yarn, I think something
Yeah,
like that.
sounds
Yeah,
about right.
those are like the only Wii games that I messed with. So like, trying Galaxy finally is nice, and they got me to buy this stupid freaking thing. Though apparently, you can get some exclusive pins if you show that you bought the game and have played the game and do some challenges, I think, in the game and watch some trailers. Then you can get some exclusive pins, which of course I'm going to do that because I want some pins. I like pins now.
Watch
Disney
one of the challenges be
me.
like drown so many things in Mario Sunshine, and then he has, in order to do it, he has to beat the game.
The one challenge I don't like is play Mario Kart Mobile is one of the challenges, and I don't know if I'll get that far because I don't want to. I hate all the Nintendo mobile games that they've released, and I don't know if that one's good, and I don't want to play a race on that, but I might have to because those pins look really nice. And
again, speaking of which,
what's up?
Just let me sidetrack you here. Speaking of racing and Mario and all that, the little cars that they're putting out,
yeah, Mario Circuit, yep.
As if everybody in the world has
That's
big,
what is
wide open flat spaces that they can drive cars around in their house.
I mean, I got a pretty open enough area, I think.
You do,
but how fast do those cars go through the track to where when you set it up, is it going to be like a 2-second race because it's like real quick? Like those cars need to move slow, or if they move too fast, like you need a ton of space to get a fun race out of it.
Yeah, you need a lot of space, and this is from a Japanese company. Where Japanese housing is notoriously tiny, especially in places like Tokyo.
Yeah,
I don't know who can where's the target audience for this? It's the audience that has big, wide open spaces with hardwood floors that don't have shit all over them, that don't have furniture all over the place,
and have $200 because it's $100 for just one cart.
Yeah.
But it's Nintendo. Are you going to buy the Game & Watch thing? Because you like old shit.
No.
Are you going to? Okay.
I was never into that Nintendo. So I wasn't the first Nintendo. The first Nintendo console I ever owned was the Wii. Like
Dave is corpsing right now because
I know he is.
Blatantly were like.
It's old shit. Josh wants it.
Yeah, all that old Nintendo shit.
They put the word retro next to it. Josh has to get it.
If it's old Atari shit, if it's old Atari shit or old Sega shit, maybe. But old Nintendo shit, I don't care about.
If it was ET Racers or Game & Watch ET or whatever the fuck,
that I would buy.
The game where you fall in holes and shit. Gosh. Like, I don't know. Like,
I will die on that fucking hill, man. E.T. was a better game than anybody ever gave it credit for because none of you fuckers ever read the instructions.
I wasn't even probably born.
Michael's like, I wasn't born.
I know. But I'm talking about all the people that just shit all over it. Either A, you never played it, or B, you never read the instructions because it was a damn fine game.
It's going to be on his tombstone. E.T. was a good game. Here lies Josh Langford. E.T. was a good damn game.
It was.
Oh my God.
Josh's request is to be buried with the cartridges in the desert.
I will die on that hill, man. There's no way. It was a good game.
Oh my gosh.
Bullshit. There are much worse games out there.
Die on the hill of the buried cartridges.
Should listen
you
to
tell me that's worse than Custer's Last Stand, I'll fight you.
I don't even know what that is, but I've heard about it. Is that a Bonanza spinoff?
No, that was a rapey Custer game.
Oh, what?
That was seriously. It was an Atari 2600
Cocaine's a hell
game.
of a cocaine.
Yeah.
I think he just used the word rapey.
2600 game. Yeah.
It was the 80s. It was fucked up.
Okay.
It was 70s, 80s. Yeah. 2600 game.
If it was 70s, I wasn't born yet. If it was 80s, I couldn't walk.
So you play as Custer, and you have a little 8-bit boner, and you're chasing after an Indian princess to bang her. Basically, it's Custer's Last Stand.
Yeah.
Tell me that's better than E.T. Fuck you.
Oh man, no wonder the games industry crashed. And burned in the 80s.
This is pre-bubble.
This was Atari with no control over. Hey, anybody can make a game.
This was Atari with no competition.
Everything. Yeah. Well, they had competition. I mean, the console wars back then were the 2600, the Intellivision, and the ColecoVision. And that was it. ColecoVision had Donkey Kong and it looked much more like the arcade than the shitty Atari one that came out. So, all right, I digress.
Did you play anything else?
No. I finished Avatar, the show that was on Nickelodeon all those years ago, because I wanted to see it because all of my friends have nostalgia for that show and are just talking about like how it was like one of the favorite shows. Watching it, I never saw it.
Last Airbender?
Yeah, Last Airbender.
Okay.
So I finally watched it. I loved it. I was surprised like how dark it got, how good the action was. The writing didn't treat kids like kids. It was like, no, this is just a show with the story. I don't care if you're a 5-year-old watching it after school or me in my 30s watching it now.
It's like Owen's favorite show.
It's so good.
Another side. Yeah, I'm here to wildcard, bitches. Here we go.
Tangents, tangents.
So, my cousin, one of my favorite people in the world, she doesn't live that far away either. She called me up. She's the one that painted the bedroom for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So she called me up or texted me, and she was like, "Are the kids at a point where like they could probably watch Avatar?" And I was like, "Probably. I mean, they watch some crazy shit, and you know they're good with it, and I'm all right with it." She said, "Good. They haven't seen it yet, have they?" I'm like, "No, they're into Gumball, The Amazing World of Gumball, which is fucking surreal. It's awesome."
Yeah.
And they're both into Steven Universe now too, which I know you'll appreciate, Michael.
Yeah, that's so good. They're gonna be crying every couple episodes. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. But I said, "Yeah, let's do that." She's like, "I want to come over and I want to sit down with them and watch that." And I was like, "Let's do it." So. Yeah, I think we're all gonna watch Avatar at some point.
That'd be cool.
It's so good. I was amazed how
like
much I got into it.
The spinoff is supposed to be really good too. Legend of Korra.
Yeah, which is on Netflix too. So like me and Sarah are probably gonna go through that soon. But we also started Kim's Convenience. So like now I'm like I gotta finish Kim's Convenience before I can jump into the Legend of Korra. Those are my TV show watching for when I need to like relax after work.
But then you can jump right into the Oscar-winning M. Night Shyamalan Avatar movie.
Oh, I'm already planning on it. Like I've been looking forward to watching this horrible movie. Mm-hmm. Oh my god! Like, because I already saw like a trailer for it. I looked at the cast. I'm like, this looks horrible. I'm down, and I can't wait. Sarah doesn't really want to watch it, but I'm gonna watch it probably this week. And then once I'm disgusted with that, then I'll just do. I'll start watching Legend of Korra to like palate cleanse and bring me back, because apparently people really love Legend of Korra. So I want to watch that too. I just wanted a break between Airbender and Legend of Korra, just in case I didn't like Legend of Korra. I just wanted to like sit and simmer on like how much Avatar was. I don't know if I can count it as an anime, but it's probably top 10 anime for me.
Nice.
So like. I'm sure I can't count it because it's a American show, but it's in my top 10 for like animated things. And that's it. Dave, what do you got?
So I didn't really play much of anything because we recorded a couple things. We obviously had the reveal event that was on one of my days off, so that took up a lot of that. I did like dabble a little bit more with my Xbox, just like minor. Like I did my cross save thing for Destiny just to see how it works and see what it looks like. And then I also briefly, I need to see how hard it is to hook the controller up, but I did mess around with xCloud a little bit on my phone at work. Mm-hmm. Like a game like Minecraft Dungeons supports touch control. on the I didn't have a controller with me at my store, Josh. I'm sorry.
What? It's a store. You can't just pick one up off the shelf.
Not at Bed Bath & Beyond.
Come on, get those on the shelf.
Yeah. So I mean, it was interesting the way it loaded up, and again, I wasn't even connected to the store's Wi-Fi. I was just on 5G, so there was a little bit of lag, but. Those attachments, like as much as I know I can just hook an Xbox controller to my phone, and play. I need to see how that works in terms of ease of use. And with me only having one Xbox controller right now, I need to see how easy it is to disconnect from the Xbox and connect to the phone, and see how that goes. But I am interested in some of those. Like the controller clips, like like Razer.
There's some really nice ones.
Yeah, Razer actually makes one that like hooks right onto the Android phones, and it.
The ones I've used, and I've used a couple in the past. They're really nice.
Yeah.
The big problem back then was compatibility with just about anything.
Yeah, but these are Microsoft. These are made by Microsoft. Or
exactly.
licensed by Microsoft for Game Pass. I mean, for xCloud. So like those, and
they'll be worth it.
Yeah, and they're still in their fight with Apple. So like having the Android phone is a good thing right now. And then I have like a Galaxy Tab. Tablet, and I just need to I keep forgetting to charge it and download and see if I can just download Game Pass on it, because it'll tell me if it can or can't run it. But like that could be a big game changer for me, is to be able to, depending on how easy it is to clip on those controllers or not clip them on, and just to be able to boot something up at home, and play on the couch while watching a football game or something like that. Like hopefully on Wi-Fi it works really well. I am a little and obviously, like 5G is not going to be the most consistently great connection. So just to see how that functions. And then also, there was the option to download the games, and I haven't done that yet. So I have to see if it plays better if it's downloaded.
I would assume it would. But God, how much space would that take?
I'd have to look and see. I mean, I know my phone is like a 64 or 80 gig. So, I would think that with the smaller screens, like as an example, I believe Fortnite is like 11 gigs. So, okay. I don't know, like in comparison what Minecraft Dungeon would be. I don't expect to be able to like download Destiny to it. Like I don't think that and then also it being like an online functionality game. But with it coming to Game Pass like that next week, is interesting to see how that's going to work, especially with the new content coming out in November for it being part of Game Pass as well. And cross save, like that's a big deal for some people if they don't want to buy it, and just the stuff that they're adding to Game Pass with the, seeing with the EA Play stuff or the EA Access and all that stuff. It's really interesting if a lot of this stuff ends up working on xCloud. The app itself has 3 different functions now. It has the xCloud function, the Xbox function, and the computer function, PC. So there's certain things there, but it'll definitely give me a chance to dabble in a game and see if it's fun or not before I download it to my console or something.
It's how I demo Switch games basically.
Yeah,
because a lot of Switch games come to Game Pass, so I use Game Pass for my Switch game.
But now you could if it works well enough, you don't have to buy it on the Switch if you don't want to. You can just play it on your phone or play it on a tablet. Would
be great.
Because you and I have always talked about how if Wi-Fi at my store is good enough, how nice would it be to go on lunch and prop the tablet up on the lunch table and pull your controller out of your bag and just play a game for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's for the most part. We recorded 3 pieces of content last week. So,
did you play Call of Duty?
Oh, I did. Yes, I forgot.
That's what I wanted to talk about because I didn't see anything of it.
So I played the Black Ops. Yeah, the alpha. The first thing that I find very interesting that I learned is that apparently that thing, the type of game that you play from a streaming standpoint, that would max out my OBS and my PC almost at 100%. I was having a huge problem streaming that game. And
where are you streaming from? The PlayStation?
Yeah.
Why was that killing your
I don't
OBS?
know, but it was through the Elgato, it was making OBS use 90% of my CPU. And then when it was on a loading screen, it would go down to 55%.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
You're streaming from your PlayStation.
I know, that's what I was
PlayStation to the Elgato.
Yeah, so it was
your Elgato might be dying.
Shut up. Well, when I switched over to another game, it was fine.
That's so weird.
So it was down to in the 50%. So because right now my CPU is at 44% when we stream the show. So because it was chugging for a little while and I had to lower the bit rate. But anyway, I get so it's the Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War Alpha. So it's going to be it was the alpha for the multiplayer coming out this fall. The maps are huge. I got a very much a Battlefield feel from it. Like the maps were very, very big. At least in the 12v12 mode, the maps are obviously bigger than the 6v6 mode. But they had like a conquest style that had 5 control points that you were capturing. And it didn't really. It felt like Call of Duty. It didn't really feel like they were doing anything like innovative. I hope that they have some unique style or game mode coming, for the multiplayer, just because I don't know if it's going to have the same lasting effect that Modern Warfare has had. And then I'm kind of with you at this point too, Michael. Like I'm interested to see how they tie in Warzone to this, because there is a Warzone tab on the alpha build that we were playing, and it just kicked you into regular Warzone. So it'll be interesting to see how they're able to do the longevity. And it got me thinking, with the success of Advanced Warfare and the seasonal model that they've implemented, like, what do we think the lifespan on Advanced Warfare is going to be? What do we think?
Modern Warfare?
Yeah, Modern Warfare. Sorry. What do we think is Modern Warfare support going to continue? And are they going to try to be competing? And then is Black Ops Cold War going to have a seasonal content as well? I would assume, as with the success of Modern Warfare, it will. So are you going to have two games in the same franchise competing with each other for seasonal content and for seasonal players, along with Warzone existing?
I would imagine they would want to see where the sales end up, and now probably determined if they sunset Modern Warfare or if they just run it with 2 games running at the same time. But then Warzone is probably their big moneymaker now, so I have no idea how they handle that.
But it's almost like three active franchise. Yeah, it's like almost 3 active games in your franchise at one time, which is very, very few, if any, companies have been able to successfully do.
Yeah. You were asking about the guns. They look too modern for you because the game takes place in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice that in the alpha? Because I know you were not necessarily concerned, but you're like, those guns look too modern.
The one that I saw in the trailer did. The stuff that I was using didn't. The red sights, I guess, are were pretty common then. It's just some of the gadgets that are already in there. They're kind of going the direction of the kill streaks. They are going the direction of the kill streaks and getting perks and doing the pick 10. I didn't get a chance to really dabble into that too much and switch scopes. It was just more fun just to play the game with like 4 or 5 people from the community that night, Saturday night. Mm-hmm. It was fun of just playing the game with them. But it definitely, it didn't feel like it did anything like super cool or super innovative. I did get annoyed dying to a remote control car multiple times. So.
It's always fun.
Yeah,
it's like in World at War, dying to the dogs.
It's just more new perks and pick 10s and spy planes, and it even in the multiplayer, a lot more vehicles, boats and the stuff that they really haven't they've been messing with in Warzone a little bit, but not very much in their standard multiplayer, at least that I've seen. I know that Modern Warfare started to just recently, but then there was like a huge bug with them or something.
No. Maybe I'm crazy, but I don't remember remote control cars looking like that back in the 80s.
Nope, not at all.
or are able to go that fast.
Yeah, exactly. The 8D batteries that were in there would die before it got 50 feet. Yeah. There's no way.
Yeah, so I mean, I thought that Josh briefly in the trailer, I thought that the gun and the sniper rifle that he was using looked a little bit too soon, not 81 like they were saying.
Yeah, but, probably.
Call of Duty always takes a little bit of liberty, so.
Yeah.
So, but that's it. I watched a little bit. I didn't get to watch a lot of football today. We went apple picking into the cider stuff with Owen today. So that was a nice fun fall day. So.
Hey, they're heading for the old mill. No, we're not. Let's go to the old mill anyway. Get some cider.
All right.
Favorite Simpsons jokes.
So we're going to jump into our questions. You can send us questions using hashtag #AskDigitalDays. You can post them in the Facebook group. You can post them on Twitter. You can tag us in them. But easiest way to do it is using hashtag #AskDigitalDays. And we got a question from Stefan Wren. He actually said he has two questions. How the devil is Josh? Which I think we kind of established a little bit already.
Josh the devil is good.
And then, since leaving podcasting, what has been your favorite game, old or new?
Wow.
You're the worst at answering favorite game questions. So
I'll just say Minecraft because that's the one I've been playing the most.
So when you've been
fuck that ET.
ET.
No, Minecraft. I
guess
sure.
Where are you playing Minecraft? Because you're saying you're playing it everywhere, basically. Is it like you find 5 minutes in a day and you just grab the Switch and just like play Minecraft? Okay. But like, are you like sneaking into a room where like the kids are like at their work, their school from home thing, and you just like run into the room, grab the Switch, or is the Switch just always next to your desk at work?
No, all right. No, this is gonna sound bougie. We have 3 Switches. They've got their own. But we got them off Facebook Marketplace. No.
Yeah, that's where I got a lot of my. That's where I get a lot of my stuff from.
And we did this like a year ago, or 2 years ago, whenever it was, because my wife was like, they kept taking the Switch and they kept fighting over it, and my wife was like, "How much are these things?" And she started looking on Facebook Marketplace, and she was like, "What about this?" And I'm like, "That price is way too low. That doesn't seem right. Does it work?"
Like Josh is like, "What's wrong with it?" Like,
does the point? Yeah, I was like, "There's no way."
He's reading the description,
send me out to get it.
Looking at all the pictures.
She'd send me out to get it, and it would be somebody like, "I just need the money, so I'm selling it," or whatever. It was just weird. So
are you buying 3 copies of games then?
No,
because I know that. Okay, because I know the Switch is weird with like game sharing stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, so what I did was, at one point when we only had 2. But then my daughter had to have one. That became a whole thing. When we only had 2, I put my account, the main account where you can just play without worrying about anything, on Mason's, because they would go to Brooklyn, and I was like, they're going to play in Brooklyn. He doesn't have to worry about having a good internet connection or any of that shit. Then he wasn't playing it as much, and I was like, oh, fuck that. And I put it back on mine because I was getting sick of having to deal with all that.
I don't have enough Wi-Fi right now. It doesn't validate the license.
I was in places where I'm like, I can't do this with no Wi-Fi. This sucks. But they play. I get a lot of physical games anyway.
Okay.
So my daughter was all over the SpongeBob fight for Bikini Bottom.
Yeah.
Battle for Bikini, whatever it was. She was playing that because I got the card, so she was like, ooh, she saw the box. She's like, can I play that? I was like, sure, go nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the Switch, that just makes it easier. So
have you seen any of those gadgets that are like, quote unquote, like portable Switch docks that you can like plug in? It's like an HDMI, and then you plug USB-C into it, and you don't have
yes.
And do you have?
I have one.
Okay, how do you feel?
I have one. I only used it once, and
now these are the small things I'm talking about. Almost look like a USB plug, not a third-party dock.
Yeah, I had like a little circular, like a little tiny circle thing. That's what I had. I don't.
Is it a recommend?
I only used it. Yeah, I mean, I only used it once, and it worked. I didn't use it for that long, but I did use it once outside the house. Obviously, I haven't been outside the house all that much.
We're going through this thing. Yeah, we're going through this thing with Owen. Like I said, my Switch is actually being repaired by Nintendo right now because he would play it so much that he would want to charge it, and then he would charge it and rest it on his stomach while he was playing it.
Yes.
So we ended up trying to get him like a right angle USB-C cable, which worked, but I think by then he'd already done some damage to the USB-C port, so that's getting fixed. And I think I'm wondering if something like this, maybe in a TV, like somewhere else that he plays, that might be a little easier to handle than me worrying about him like going near the dock every time. Like stop.
Yeah. Yeah, or Facebook Marketplace, and although now is a bad time to do that, but like a year ago it was awesome.
I got a good deal on mine when I got it 6 months ago or 8 months ago, whenever I got mine. So I've gotten it since DDG started, so it's been close to quarantine prices.
Okay. Yeah, it's weird. My wife became like a guru of Facebook Marketplace about a year or two ago, and she was just finding ridiculous deals everywhere. And
you pay enough attention and have some patience, you can get some really good deals.
Oh yeah. And there were a bunch that we missed out on, but even so, because of Roblox and because they were getting so into Roblox on the Xbox, she went digging around for an Xbox One X or an Xbox One. and found one for what did I give them? It was like $50, and it was an Xbox One. I was like, this console's banned or something. There's something wrong with this. And I got it, and they were just getting rid of it. And she had a stack of games in there, 2 controllers. Neither of them had the faceplate on the back for the battery, so I had to go on eBay and do the $5 faceplate for the back of it. But it was like $50 somewhere in there.
Nice.
For a console and like 5 games and 2 controllers.
Jeez.
And it works. It works fine.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck. All right. So, yeah, it's funny if you look.
Yeah.
And you're quick, you can find these things.
All right. Next question is from Maine Terry. He said, I actually have another question. He asked one earlier. I don't think that made it the thing. Josh, we both have sons that are pretty close in age. I think less than a year apart. And Dave, I know you have an adult age son as well as a toddler. What are your opinions with online gaming for your kids? What do you feel is the appropriate time to allow them to use chat features or multiplayer games? And how, if at all, have you gone about managing their friends list on games?
Well, I'll say he plays Roblox all the time, and that's online. I just let him be. He knows. I've raised him in a way where he understands what's right and what's wrong, and he'll tell me, he'll be like, I had to get out of that server because they were being jerks or they were being inappropriate or they weren't being nice or whatever. And he just bails and goes to another server. He doesn't, he's good about things. So I don't really worry about him all that much. I keep an eye on it. I do kind of listen in when he's in the other room. I'll kind of go by the door and kind of listen in and see what's going on in there. But he's 8,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that I trust him. He's been pushing me now the past 2 days. He's like, I'm interested in Call of Duty. I want to see what that's like. And I'm like, we'll see. If we're going to do that, you and I are going to be there together and we're going to go through that. But
no Russian Modern Warfare 2 campaign. See what he does, and that will determine if he can play them.
He saw me. He wanted to see me play World War II because he was interested in all that. And I showed him, the beach landing and the chaos and all that stuff. But he's played so much of the Call of Duty clones on Roblox that he wants to see the more realistic weapons and stuff like that. I know that's what he's getting. That's what he's pushing for. It's not that, he'll probably get frustrated with it because he'd be like me. He's stepping into it now with guys that are playing it all day, every day for the past 6 months, and he's going to get smoked left and right and get just decide he's done with it and drop it and walk away. So I don't know.
I mean, I think the biggest thing, like you're shedding on, is like you just kind of got to know your kid. You have to know like what they do. Do they try to hide stuff from you already? You can kind of police the friends list a little bit. Like, I mean, with Jonathan, as he progressed kind of through the generations, where he was, I don't know, like he was 14 or 15 when PS4 came out, because it's been out like 6 years, I think. So he's like 15. He had his friends, that he knew that had the systems, and he would party chat with some of them, and then all of a sudden you get, oh, this is my buddy that I know from here that we play together, and then all of a sudden you get the friends of the friend thing in there. I've periodically, like, even because like upstairs when I sign into the PlayStation, it automatically signs me into his account because it's his PlayStation. I've periodically like just checked his messages, and it's nothing. He's 20 years old, so I'm like, it's fine. But there's nothing crazy in there, nothing weird going on in there. I think even like a couple people commented on this question where like the online gaming mantra is different now than even it was 9 years ago. Like in terms of what people were doing and what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable. And I think the implementation of like the party chat system and stuff is great. I don't think Switch doesn't have a party system unless you're in the app, I think.
I don't know what the fuck Switch has. It's ridiculous for online.
no party system, but no voice chat or
they have
anything like
Discord.
Yeah.
Right?
So, and I think the implementation of Discord being used a lot more is also, being able to control things. You can see what's going on in certain servers. So in terms of building stuff like that, but ultimately you just kind of know your kid and you got to see what happens. It's almost like when they start like walking up and down stairs, like you're terrified that they're going to do it, but then eventually they get up the steps and then they're fine. And then you don't think about it anymore because it's like second nature. But if they're, doing something incorrectly, like you need to notice it and you need to address it and adjust from there. Like the same example with Owen with the Switch. He's broken my Xbox One and my Switch in the last 2 months. And, so now there's more. He's got different rules established to him. So he's got different rules established of what he is and isn't allowed to do. But at the same time, he watched us. Like, one of the TVs we had it on when he had his friend over and he had his cousin over, they were playing Roblox and, they wanted to watch TV. So he watched mom unplug the Xbox and plug the Roku in. So he's like, oh, I can do that. Like,
Yeah.
So like, it's just, and it's a lesson learned as a parent, and he understands now, and he's still at the point where he's learning and evolving as a kid, obviously, and even now with the Switch going to Nintendo, it's been gone for like 10 days, 14 days, and it probably won't be back for another 10 or 14 days again. And he's like, where's my Switch? And I'm like, well, your Switch is in the repair shop because you broke it, and
so it's my Switch, son.
So it's I'm more or less making him aware of, like, now just to make sure when it comes back that you're careful with it, so that hopefully he understands the consequence to it, and then hopefully he's happy when it comes back in and he can play some of his games. But then hopefully he's aware of what he did to it. It's the same concept with gaming online. So
yeah.
And I won't let my cat online like at all. He's banned from Call of Duty.
Your cat's an asshole, so
yeah.
All right.
He watches me play games.
We'll keep these next two short because we're going a little longer, even longer than last time Josh was here. So,
shit.
Lebetsky writes, with Spider-Man PS4 getting a remaster on PS5 with new trophies and content, do you think they are doing the same for Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us 2, since those 3 Sony first-party games are the ones not on the PS Plus collection? Side note, MJC, still no Turok. Must be a PS5 launch game.
Yeah, Lebetsky has been championing freaking Turok to come to PlayStation, and it has not. It's on Xbox, it's on PC, it's on Switch. It's not on PlayStation.
Well, do you guys remember? Sorry. Wow. It's been a while since I've had to talk like this. Do you guys remember back at E3 where we sat in the Japanese garden
Yes.
for Ghost of Tsushima, and I said, I think this is a PS5 game.
Mm-hmm.
I said, it's been going so long that I think it's coming to the PS5. And you guys were like, no, it's definitely PS4. I said, well, then they're going to do the remake for the PS5 soon after launch, because there's no way. It's so close in the generation. And think Last of Us 2, almost definitely, because they did that with Last of Us. I think they will do both.
But do you think that it's like, do you think this is something that's going to be ready at launch?
No, not at launch.
So
but
then
within the first year, I think they'll both come.
So then how come Spider-Man gets the treatment, and how come Sackboy gets it, and how come Horizon 2 gets it?
I think because they're releasing us like this now, because those are relatively new games, and Ghost isn't a complete package yet. The multiplayer is coming in October for Ghost. Is that right?
Sounds, late September, October, I believe, yeah.
So fall. I think you'll do a Game of the Year edition where it has a disc with multiplayer and single player attached to it, and you'll release it on 4 and 5.
That makes sense. But Last of Us doesn't have anything additional.
Last of Us, I think, will get its multiplayer that they talked about, and then that will get released PS4, PS5, where PS4 will just get a patch for the multiplayer, or the multiplayer will be its own standalone thing, and then at PS5, the multiplayer will come included with the single-player Game of the Year edition, whatever you would call it, even though it's not going to have story stuff, but they'll still call it Game of the Year edition.
So, but what happens on November 13th when I boot up Last of Us on PS5?
It's going to run because 99% of the PS4 games run. It's just not going to be prettier. It's going to be the same game.
Okay.
Just boot it up.
So if you remember with the original Last of Us, they brought out DLC for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that came out of nowhere. Everybody was like, "Wait, what? How are you doing DLC to this?" And
Right.
it was something that took place inside the story itself.
Naughty Dog has said there's no DLC plans.
But they still haven't said no multiplayer.
Right.
Outright.
No.
But
You and I were both on the same page that we thought that multiplayer was going to be a standalone game by itself.
And I think for PS5 they'll just put that in one package.
Yeah, I don't see them passing up the opportunity to make this game look even better and load quicker and do all the things the PS5 can do and play around with all the DualSense stuff they could do, whatever it's going to be. I think they will take advantage of that sometime in the next year or two. Like within a year and a half of launch, it'll either be out or you'll hear Last of Us 2 Remastered is coming to PS5 with all new.
I just don't know if they need to remaster anymore. I think they just need to make it run better at this point.
They probably will, but
because they're saying Spider-Man's gonna run. You're gonna get. Well, no, they didn't say the upgrade's free, so it's just gonna work.
Nope,
right?
they didn't.
Yeah. But then, these other companies are letting their games just run better. Like Watch Dogs is supposed to run better. Assassin's Creed is going to run better. Cyberpunk's supposedly run better.
It's that Sony, the Sony thing that we've been frustrated with, where it's just like their messaging is so mixed. Like we were told, like we believe in generations. These games are exclusive, and then 2 months later, we're like, actually, we don't really believe in generations. We only meant that when
it's part of the reason I don't think Ratchet's coming out in the first 60 days of launch either. So.
Yeah, I think they're going to do the Nintendo launch window, and their launch window is like 6 months. It's basically the end of Q4. Yeah. And then they'll be like, oh, March 31st. Here it is.
All right. And we got a question for Michael. What have been your celebration plans?
Ben was drinking.
Yeah. What are your celebration plans for the White Sox making the playoffs?
It's been fun. Fuck your team. It's so good to have them in the playoffs again. I'm just so happy because they have like swagger. They have cool players finally. It's been a long time. I thought after they traded Sale, we were going to go into a depression, but it's pretty good. It's been fun. My Facebook friends are all Cub fans. Looking at their accounts not talk about baseball anymore is really nice. Because every game they would talk about baseball after every Cubs game, and now it's just like, even though the Cubs are still in first place or whatever, they don't talk about baseball because they know a Sox fan is going to be like, best team in the league. So I'm celebrating it, but I'm worried that the new playoff setting, I don't think any team is safe in the new playoff system where it's like,
no, you're definitely kind of seeing that in hockey and basketball where like home ice advantage is out the window with the bubble, and then it's out the window with empty stadiums too, or not non-capacity stadiums. So
and it's a best of 3 to start, and I feel like any team can win a best of 3. And the Sox pitching is a little.
That's the concern. A best of 3 series is like, okay, you got a number 1 and a kind of a number 2, and the other team doesn't have a number 2. You're gonna lose.
Yeah, and then that's my only fear. But man, they can hit the ball, so they can fight their way out of anything.
The no days off will benefit the hitters though, because they won't be able to build their pitching rotation around the days off like a lot of teams do, where you get the number 1 starter pitching game 1, 4, and 7, because of all the days off. So.
And I know they want to do a bubble in like San Diego, Texas, and Wisconsin.
They are doing it.
I know that they are. But I hope that if the White Sox and the Cubs both make the World Series, I think I told you, Dave, and I probably mentioned this podcast, I hope they clean up the Field of Dreams field that they were going to use earlier this season and have the Cubs and Sox or whoever in the World Series at Field of Dreams.
I just don't understand why they never considered Chicago for a bubble site. You could even use Milwaukee that close as well too in terms of
that's what they're going to do. They say because they don't want to use Chicago because Chicago's kind of in some fucking.
But I was just saying, you got 3 stadiums within 45 minutes of each other.
Yeah, but the White Sox stadium sucks.
No, it's nice.
Sorry, it's Wrigley, the ugliest goddamn stadiums I've ever seen.
Josh, does it matter what the stadium looks like when it's empty?
Inside, it's real. So I hate Wrigley Field because like I don't like eating a hot dog and having rats under me. So like I don't like Wrigley Field. So if people are like, Wrigley Field looks cool on the outside, but it's disgusting on the inside. Comiskey looks beautiful. I still call it Comiskey, damn it. It looks really nice.
Why? Because you can't remember the 19 other names it's had?
Yeah, what's it called this week?
Guaranteed Rate Field.
Oh my gosh.
That's why I don't say the name of that part.
That's like where the Flyers and Sixers play?
Yeah.
That has gone through 18 different names since they moved there. I don't even know what it's called this week.
There's only been 4 names. It's Comiskey, New Comiskey, U.S. Cellular Field, and Guaranteed Rate.
New Comiskey.
Yes.
That's one of the worst names.
Well, because it wasn't old
Field.
Comiskey. It was a different stadium, but it was next to Comiskey.
Oh my gosh.
Guaranteed
New
Rate
Comiskey.
Field.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
All right.
And then U.S. Cellular
shit.
didn't even provide service in Chicago, and they had the name
Oh
of
my
the
gosh,
park.
that's even worse.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm happy. I want Field of Dreams to get dusted off. The Cardinals had to get COVID earlier this year, so they canceled the
Yeah.
Field of Dreams game with the Sox. So I know the field is ready for play. So put the World Series, whoever's playing, in
That would
Field
be
of Dreams.
cool.
Yeah.
That would actually be a really cool idea.
So as a Phillies fan, I don't know how closely you were following the season or not, but like how crazy was the COVID outbreak with the Marlins and the Phillies? Like amongst like what were the players and the articles? I mean, were you paying any attention?
It was crazy. Yeah, it was absolutely nuts. And fuck the Marlins for hey, we're going to Atlanta. Let's go party.
Yeah. Or
all right,
hey, this guy
let's all
tested
get
positive.
sick.
Let's put him on the field.
Yeah, let's put him on the field. No big deal.
Florida.
One of the Phillies players, Didi Gregorius, right?
Sounds right. Yeah.
I forget. He's wearing the mask, like full game, like the whole game. So
well, they have to in the state of Michigan, like the high school teams, like the football is playing, they have to wear masks while they play.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, the way things are.
And it sounds like our governor might make the Big Ten teams do it too in the state. It's part of her executive order.
I was pissed off that the Marlins did that.
Yeah.
But it's there's too many variables with baseball.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's too many with all the teams traveling all over the place, and it's great. Canada was like, "Fuck you, Toronto, you're staying."
Yeah, I mean the two
you
sports
play in Buffalo.
the two sports that had the most success with it did the bubble. Like,
yeah,
something's gonna happen in the NFL in like 2 weeks.
Oh no, for sure.
Yeah, like
For sure.
something's gonna happen in the NFL.
But even the NBA had positive tests because they had idiots sneaking people in and stuff like that.
They didn't have tests. They didn't have
bounced them
positive
super
tests.
fast.
Like the bubble was contained. Like the players' bubble was contained. Like
the players' bubble was contained.
Yeah, like some of the media and yeah.
Okay, because with the NHL, there's not been one single positive test the entire time they've been in the bubble for anybody.
Well, the thing that people don't realize if you don't pay close enough attention to it, the NBA actually has like 3 bubbles. They have one for the players that is different than the media and then the press. Mm-hmm. So theirs was really interesting because somebody brought up the question like, why does Rachel Nichols have to wear a mask if she's in the bubble interviewing a player that's been tested? I'm like, well, because she's in a different bubble.
She has other jobs to deal with.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's really odd to see because like I'm just worried about something either, and I hope it's not in college, but something's going to happen in college or the pros.
It will.
Like, are you
college,
like
definitely
a local university for us? Like, because my daughter's in school in Kentucky.
Oof.
But they like I just asked her today. We were talking about it. Like on campus, they have like 32 active cases out of like 15,000 students. I think they have on campus or something. So they're doing a pretty good job of containing it. But then we just had a local university have like a 800 case outbreak. So
I was gonna say, or they're just not doing a whole lot of testing.
No, I mean, my daughter's there. She says that they're actually doing a pretty good job of mask enforcement and everything too. So,
well, that's good.
But all right,
crazy.
So that's our show for the week. Close to 2 hours. So I hope you guys enjoyed the third chair on the podcast. We'll try to get him. We'll try to get him on again if everything works out and he does get the new system. We'll get him maybe shoot sometime in December maybe.
I will. Well, I'll
not like anyone's going out for the holidays.
Yeah.
I will have the PS5 on launch. I know that for a fact.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Beyond that, I know nothing. But yeah, I would love to come back on. This is fun.
Yeah. So we'll shoot for sometime in December, end of November, December. We'll start poking at him. But if you want to let him know how much you enjoyed hearing him on the show, tweet at him at PJFJosh. We had a Futurama question in here, but we cut it. So, or Venture Brother question or something.
Ooh. Oh yeah. No, it's probably Venture Brothers.
Yeah,
because
that's what
happened.
Yeah.
Up.
So you guys can have conversations with him about that on his Twitter. He may or may not respond. I haven't seen how active he has or hasn't been lately.
Yeah. I'm spotty on Twitter, but yeah.
You can follow our main account at Digital Days Pod. You can follow Michael at First MJC, and you can follow myself at Good Dave Hunt. All of our other social links are in the show notes, so please feel free to click on those if you choose to, along with our Patreon, patreon.com/digitaldaysgaming, where there are multiple tiers there that you can look at and see if any of them fit what you're looking for. Please do not donate to Patreon if you're not in a financial state to be able to do so. Patreon is just another layer of ways that you can support us as we continue to build what we're doing with DDG. So if you cannot do it, please do not feel obligated to do it, but it is there as an option, as well as a PayPal link if you just wanted to send us a direct amount of money. It's up to you. We did just release our September bonus episode for Patreon, which is Worst Games Played / Reviewed. We've talked about a handful of some of our worst experiences of playing and reviewing games. Some of the other bonus episodes can include a dive into food, what types of food we do or don't eat, E3 memories, retail stories, and how we got into podcasting and games writing. So that's the last couple of Patreons that are there. So you guys, if you want to listen to those, you can. That's under the $7 tier. But again, we appreciate everyone's support, whether it's on Twitch, whether it's on Patreon, whether it's just following us on Facebook or following us on Twitter, sharing the show, following us on Twitch, being nice enough to use your Amazon Prime sub with us. It all helps make money that helps us break even, or it helps offset the cost of getting these consoles. So it's a huge help, and you guys are all appreciated and thanked for it. So I hope everyone has a great week. Josh, thank you again. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you. This was fun. Glad we did it.
Michael, you got anything else?
No, just we do have a YouTube link now, finally, a personalized one. So
youtube.com/digitaldaysgaming.
Yeah, so if you want to sub to that channel, we made it. We got our goal. Now we got to keep going.
Yeah.
I want one of those little tiny plaques they give you if you hit a certain number.
So, all right. I hope everyone has a great week. We will talk to you guys later.
See ya.
Somebody actually said something about you saying, "Don't be a dick." You forgot.
Oh, don't be a dick. Oh, but I'm waiting for Mr. Langford eventually.
Bye.